Hello all, welcome to AutoBot YouTube channel. Myself Rahul. Today we are going to learn about how we can do a data migration using Flyway. So I hope the video is clear and the audio is laudable, because I got few comments like the audio is not clear. So I have upgraded the mic. So if there is any issues with my audio quality, please do put it in the comments, and if you have any suggestions related to the videos or contents, please do mention in the comment section. So let us understand what is Flyway and how you can do the data migration in your project, right? So you should have heard about the CI/CD pipelines, right, for promoting your code from one environment to another. So same kind of your code promotion, your database migration is also very important. Like once a table or once a schema is created, the schemas need to be promoted to all the environments, correct? Or just consider you have some data that need to be populated to all the environments, correct? So one method is either you can create a file and you need to run it in all the environments manually, right? So it is a tedious work, and there can be chance for causing manual errors also. Okay, so in my experience also, we used to create CI/CD pipelines for the code migration, but still the blocker was the data migration. So how we can do the data migration? Okay, what are the challenges that can happen if you are going for a data migration? Okay, so initially the process was like manual deployment to all the environment, but the problem is sometimes we will do the deployment to some lower environment for the testing purpose, but later we will forget that to promote to higher environment. Okay, so because of that, it will add up some unnecessary role privilege issues, and some content is not getting promoted to higher environment. Okay, and unnecessary bug will get raised for this kind of issues. Okay, so how we can do that and how we can solve that issue using Flyway? Okay, so Flyway is a very useful and flexible tool that will help you to migrate your database objects from one environment to another environment. Okay, so in this video I'm just trying to give you some insights about Flyway, how you can do the setup, and what are the different versioning methods, and how you need to name the files to make it compatible for the Flyway. Okay, so what is Flyway? Okay, so a reliable migration tool. So Flyway is an open source database migration tool that facilitates version control for databases. Okay, it helps manage and track changes to database schema, ensuring consistency across different environments. Flyway is known for its simplicity and ease of use. So as I mentioned, just consider you have a schema. You need to create a schema. Inside that schema you need to create some tables, okay, and you need to create some indexes for the tables. Then you have to add up some constraints to the table. You have to add new roles to the table or to the schema, and then you have to create some users and you need to assign the role to the particular user, right? So all these activities can happen as part of your data migration or as part of your DB activities, right? And sometimes you will get some new requirement from business or from developers to add up new columns or to edit or alter the existing tables, right? So in this kind of situation, if you are going for a manual deployment, there is no proper versioning is happening. Okay, so no one is having any idea like what versions has deployed to this particular environment. For example, just consider you have multiple environments like a dev, SIT, then you have UAT, then production, and just consider you have some staging environment. Okay, like that different environments are there. Maybe in dev environment you are going to run some SQL code, and you are going to promote that to SIT also. Okay, but by mistake when you execute the code, right, you found some issues and you forgot, you manually updated those changes in the SIT. Okay, but you failed to add a new version or to track that with a version controlling. Okay, then what will happen if you promote the same code to higher environment? The same bug will get detected there also. Okay, so to control these kind of scenarios, Flyway will help you to version control your database objects. Okay, so Flyway is like a open source database migration tool which will help you to version control your database. Okay, so what does it mean? Like just consider you have one RDS. Inside that RDS you are going to create a new database, right? So inside that database you will be creating different objects. Okay, so this Flyway will help you to track in which version this object got created and what are the next step it got executed. All these things can be handled with the Flyway. Okay, so you'll get a realistic image or the picture of in which version your objects got deployed and to which all environments it got deployed, and what are the next versions that it that is promoted to the different environment. Okay, so all these things you will get a clear idea if you are going for a Flyway. Okay, so I will show you like what are the different tables that is required for doing this versioning and what are the file formats and file versioning that you need to keep to make it compatible for a Flyway. Okay, so benefits of using Flyway. So one, the first point is like key database version control. Okay, so just now we discussed about this topic. So it provides a clear and auditable history of all database schema changes, just like code version control. Okay, just consider in version 1 you granted one access and maybe in version 3 you revoked that access. Okay, then while doing the testing in one of the environment, you found like there is a access issue within your application, and you need to understand how that access got revoked in database level. Okay, so what you can do is you can just search for that role within this Flyway versions, and you can identify in which stage it got applied and which stage it got revoked. Okay, so if it is by mistake, you can correct that version or you can add new versions to add the access control again. Okay, so that is a benefit of version controlling. Next is automated deployments. So automates the process of applying database changes, reducing manual efforts and speeding up deployment. Okay, so if you are going for a manual deployment, there are more chances for manual errors, right? So this Flyway will help you to reduce that effort. Also, it will help you to speed up your database related deployments. Okay, next is consistency across environment. So once you are going for a pipeline and if you promote the code via Flyway, the same versions can be promoted to higher environments also. Okay, so that is a benefit of using with the Flyway. You can create a version file, the same version file will get promoted to all the higher environment and it will get tracked in the Flyway history table as well. Okay, next is a simplified collaboration. So facilitates collaboration among developers working on the same database by providing a structured way to manage changes. For example, there are two developers who are working on the same database for creating some different objects. Okay, so how we can make this collaboration is maybe the first developer can work with version V1 and second developer can work with version V2. Okay, so once both these developers checking to the their respective code to the repo, right? While during the Flyway migration, it will get tracked in the Flyway history table. Like just consider if the first developer pushes code, then it will be tracked with the V1 version, and if second developer also push in code and during the deployment, it will get tracked as a V2 version. Okay, so proper tracking of different components or different activities of the developers or your team will get tracked with the Flyway. Okay, supports various databases. So Flyway is designed to be vendor neutral and supports a wide range of relational databases. Okay, so it will support a wide range of databases. So for our demos, we will be using Postgres, and we have already gone through some of the demos with the Postgres as well. Okay, how Flyway works. Okay, so this is also very important. So one is like migration scripts. Okay, you define database schema changes in versioned migration scripts, typically written in SQL. Okay, these scripts are organized in a designated directory and named with a version number. Okay, so here you can see I have assigned a version number to the file, right? So you have to follow this particular pattern, v and what is a version number, then underscore underscore, and you can give some description for that particular file. Okay, for example, if you are going to create a product table, just give the description like create underscore product underscore table. Okay, so what will happen is once you execute this .sql using Flyway migration command, it will generate a tracking in Flyway history table. Okay, so once you set up the Flyway, it will automatically create one table called Flyway history, so it will get tracked in the Flyway history table. Okay, so for the next execution, if you are going to make any changes to this file, or if you are going to add new versions, it will get tracked in the same table. Okay, so that's how you need to write. So you need to create a migration folder. Inside that migration folder, you need to keep all your .sql files properly versioned with this format, like v1 or v2, like that. And after that, you have to use underscore underscore, you need to give the description. Okay. Next is like a schema history table. Just now I mentioned about a schema history table. So Flyway tracks the application of these migrations by creating and maintaining a special table within your database. Okay, usually named Flyway schema history. This table records which migration have been executed and the current version of a database. Okay, just consider I have created 3 versions like v1, v2 and v5. Okay, I need to add v3 and v4. Okay, still Flyway will allow you to deploy your changes, and just consider after v5 you are going to add new file called v3. Okay, so still Flyway will allow you to apply the changes, but that new version called v3 will get tracked as a out of order. Okay, because already 1, 2 and 5 got deployed, and now we are going to add v3. Okay, so Flyway will automatically identify that version as a lower version, and it will keep it like a out of order version. Okay, but still Flyway will deploy the changes to your database. Okay, and all these changes will get tracked in the Flyway schema history also. Next is migration process. When you run the Flyway migrate command, Flyway scans for new or unapplied migration scripts. It then executes these scripts in order, updating the database schema and recording the update migration in the Flyway history table. So what will happen is, just consider you have 10 versions you already added, and you are going to add some 5 more versions. Okay, v10, then v11, v12, v13, v14, v15 you are going to add. So once you execute Flyway migrate, it will do a comparison between your existing Flyway schema history and what are the file versions within your migration folder. Okay, so just consider in your Flyway history you have already deployed up to 10 version, like a v1 to v10 version, and in your new requirement or in your new deployment you are going to deploy up to v15. Okay, so it will just cross check like whether which all versions are available in the Flyway schema history. Okay, so till v1 to v10 it's already present, so it will just skip those deployments, and it will proceed from v11 to v15. Okay, and it will do the deployment in your database, and it will get tracked in the Flyway schema history. Okay, repeatable migrations. In order to version migrations, Flyway also supports a repeatable migration, which are useful for objects like stored procedures, views, or function that might need to be reapplied every time they change. Okay, so like whenever if you want to make any changes to any of these categories, like if you want to do a repeatable migration, that also is possible with Flyway. Okay, so this is very important, like how you need to name your file to make it compatible for the Flyway. Okay, so if you are not following this particular format, then Flyway cannot track your changes and it will fail your execution. Okay, so Flyway depends on well-defined naming convention to manage script versioning. So what should be the format? It should start with v, then you have to give the version number, and you have to use 2 underscore, and then you have to give the description, and the file type can be .sql. Okay, so for example, here you can see v1 underscore underscore schema creation. First I am going to create a new schema, and within the schema I need to add a new table, so it is v2 underscore underscore add a new table. Then after that I am going to add some indexes, v3 underscore underscore add index to table. Okay, so now you may get confused, like why I have added v3.1. okay, why I haven't added 4. So you can go with v4 or you can go with v3.1 also, that is okay, but still you just need to make sure you are adding v upfront to the version, and you can use the minor version also, and after that you have to add underscore underscore. Okay, and still just consider here, if you are going to add v2.1, Flyway will still allow that deployment also, but in the status it will mark it as out of order. Okay, because here 3 already deployed, and the new version, if I am going to deploy like a 2.1, it will mark the status of out of order, and it will do the deployment to the database. Okay, and also the description whatever you are providing, right, that also will get tracked in the Flyway schema history table. So version control with the Flyway. So integrating Flyway with Git. Integrating Flyway with Git enhances database migration control, allowing teams to manage changes in a structured manner, ensuring that all updates are tracked and rollback options are available. For example, multiple team members are working as part of database team, and they are working on different versions or different feature requirements. So they can push their changes to their respective Flyway versions, and they can go with their own deployment. Okay, so Flyway will validate that versions, and it will promote the code changes. Okay, so the same code will get promoted to all the environment from dev to production. So that is the beauty of using Flyway along with any of the CI/CD pipeline. So in our videos, I will go through that part also in the coming videos. So today we are just targeting to give an insight about what is Flyway and what are the things that you need to follow while using Flyway, and how you can do a setup of Flyway in your Windows laptop. Okay. So that's it about the presentation. So let us go and do this installation. So what you can do is you can directly go to Google and search for Flyway. Okay. So as I mentioned, like Flyway is a open source tool. Either you can go to this community and you can download it, or you can directly go to the GitHub repo. There also you can get the updated versions. Okay, so here you can see it is compatible with the Linux, Mac, Windows. Okay, so in our requirement it is a Windows, right? So I have already downloaded the exe for that. So let me go there. So based on your system you can download that. So this is my Flyway. Like here I have downloaded the Flyway. Okay, so let me go here. Okay, so I have already downloaded the bat file and the respective file. So let me open up a command prompt. Okay, I'm just typing Flyway. Okay, so currently in my machine there is no Flyway installed, so that is why it is showing like a Flyway is not a recognized command. So as you know, like this is just a bat file that I have installed. What you have to do, you need to set up a path for this Flyway, right? So what I'm going to do is, as this is Windows, I'm just taking this path. Let me go to environment variables. Okay, directly go to environment variable. You can identify the path. Okay, just add a new entry. Okay, keep the full path. Click on OK. Click on OK. Okay, so the setup is completed. Now you try to execute Flyway. Okay, still it is throwing the error. So let me open up the command prompt again. Okay, now let me try to execute Flyway. Okay, now you can see Flyway is showing up the details, and let me check the version of Flyway, Flyway-V. Okay, so here you will get the version that we have installed. Okay, 11.16.0, and it is provided by Redgate. Okay, same kind. So I just check for the version, right? So same kind. There are different commands that you can use to do the deployment and to understand the current versions of a Flyway. For example, Flyway info. So it will give you the details about what all deployments has already happened. And before that you need to make a connection to the Flyway with the database. Okay, so I'm not going to cover that part here. I will be creating a separate video for that, and I will show you how you can promote some .sql files to the database, and we'll cover that with a live demo. Okay, so Flyway info is one of the command, and if you want to migrate the new versions to any environment, you can use Flyway migrate info. Okay, or just consider you made some changes to the file and your checksum value got updated. Okay, so checksum value is nothing but whenever if you make any deployment using Flyway, there will be one checksum file created for that particular version, okay, in the Flyway schema history table. So whenever if you make any new modification to that file, it will rewrite that checksum value. It will try to rewrite that checksum value, and it will throw you the error like a checksum value got updated. Okay, because you are not supposed to modify the existing version that has already applied. But still, if you are thinking, okay, you need to correct that checksum value, you can go with Flyway repair command. Okay, then it will automatically update the checksum value with the new details. Okay, so like this way Flyway is providing some different set of commands. I will go through all these commands in the next video. So in this video the only intention is just to give an insight about what is Flyway, how you can do the data migration, and how you can install this Flyway, or you can download the Flyway, and how you can create an environment variable for the Flyway. Okay, so now the initial setup is completed. In the next video I will show you, by connecting to a database, what are the connection strings that you need to give, and how you can migrate some versions manually using Flyway commands to the database. Okay, and in the coming up videos I will show you how you can create a pipeline using GitLab, and how you can use containers like Flyway based containers to deploy your changes to different environments. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope you liked the video and you got some clarity about database migration using Flyway. And if there is any confusions or any doubts regarding this topic or any other videos that we put in our channel, please do put it in our comment section. Okay, so thanks for watching the video. Bye.